Welcome to Motor Maintenance.
Today, I'm going to be replacing the drum brakes.
We're going to be working on the drum brakes. Now go get the jack. I'm going to grab the tools.
Okay.
Okay, so your first step is obviously to remove the tire. And now you have to remove the drum. It should just be a matter of pulling it off, but sometimes it's kind of stiff and you may need a hammer. And just to knock it off of the back. Sometimes it helps to hit it around the outside and knock some stuff that may be holding it, knock it loose. And it's a good thing to make sure that your parking brake is not on, because that would hold it in place. Okay, so that took a few minutes and now we're really close there. And the drum just pulls off. And you can see all this nasty grime that's inside of there. And that's why it was so hard to get it off. But you can also see how clean the outside of this is. And let me tell you a little story. I took these, last time they needed to be done, I took them to a shop. And they didn't grease anything. They froze over in the wintertime. And I couldn't move the Jeep because the brakes were frozen stuck. So I had to take them all apart and put them together with grease and grease everything, and now you can see how much that helps. It's actually able to come off this time. If you look in there, you can see that there's a whole bunch of springs. There's one here, there's one going over there. I believe there's one down at the bottom. Oh no, that's just the adjuster that you can see down at the bottom with the little spinner on it. That's the adjuster. And then you can see the brake, the emergency brake comes in back there. And so that's basically the basic setup. There's another bar that's in back here, which will need to be put back in that place as well. So the first thing that you got to do is pop all these springs off of here. So let's do it to it. Okay, so I know they have special tools for it, but most of us don't have those special tools. And so I'm just going to use a screwdriver and hopefully I can get it off. So, okay. It's a little rusty in here. Okay. Okay. It's one spring kind of loose. Now the next spring. So basically I'm just trying to use the the screwdrivers as a pry bar to get the spring. There we go. So now I've hooked it, and I just got to get it off the stud. There it is. And that's another spring free. There's also this, which comes down to here. That has to be removed. So now that's free. And that can be disconnected, which this goes down to the adjuster and wraps up and around to the top stud where the springs are. And just weasel this spring out of here. Okay. Okay, so this is the other spring that I had disconnected first, and it's got a little wrap around it where this came up and around like that. And then this spring was hooked up to there as well. Now we've got these little things in here, which you can see right there. So that right there is a spring inward and it's locked in with a slot. So basically there's a bar coming out like this, and it's got this slot on it that's not lined up right now, which keeps it in place. Maybe it'll be easier once I get it off there. Then it'll be easier to see. Okay. And those come out the back sides. So when you push it in, you want to hold the back side of this stud because it comes all the way through. Again, let me just get it off of there and then I'll show you. There it is. Okay. So this piece comes in through the back side, and then this, which hopefully it'll focus in on that. So you can see how it's got a little slot up and down on it. Well, this thing comes through there. Stay focused. You jerk. Okay, so it's got that little slot in there, and then this comes through from the back side of it. Gets weaseled in there and then twists 90 degrees and gets locked in. So you have to push in and then turn, and then that'll come out. And this is, like I said, coming out the back side. And then there's two of those, but this brake pad should come free now. Brake shoe, I guess. And then same thing on this side, which I believe I may have found the system in which to do this. Just get the hand back there. Oh. Okay. Turn it like it's a screw, and that worked out pretty well. So using a flat bladed screwdriver, I'm able to press right up against on that flat spot. And then this brake shoe can come loose. Okay. So there's a few areas on this rear brake shield or dust shield, whatever you want to call it, that need some greasing, and you can kind of see the wear points, and those are really the areas that you're going to want to grease up, as well as up in here. And then this here is just your emergency brake or parking brake, as well as greasing up these bars here, which I believe I'm supposed to have another spring for this. Maybe not. I don't know where that one came from. Anyway, I got a wire brush here, and I'm just gonna brush out some of this old crusty, dusty mess. Okay, so for this emergency braking mechanism, there's a piece here that needs to come off, and that'll go on to the new shoe. And you know which one you need because of the post is already in there. So I know that this one has to be for the driver's side, which is what I'm working on now. And then this one has no post, and the hole is up top. So that's all right. So there's a spring up in here. And this piece, it's a hole that's wider on one side and smaller on the other side. And so basically all you have to do is slip the wider side over the over the pin, and it should pop off. Just like that. Sorry you missed that. Okay, and now the spring should be loose. And it popped off. So I probably should have bought new stuff, but I'm a cheapo. And then I'm going to grease up these springs too, and this post, because basically anything that has a spring on it still needs to move. The only thing I don't want to get grease on is the pads themselves, because that would mean that you won't stop. And the whole idea of this is to make sure that you do. So when you get to a point where you kind of lost track and you don't know what you're supposed to be doing, it's always helpful to look at the other side of the vehicle. So when I did that, I was able to see how my spring is supposed to be attached on this piece here. So it doesn't go underneath, it actually goes up above this bar and slips forward. It goes like that. And then it can get sprung like that. And this is for the self-adjusting parking brake, or the self-adjusting brakes. So now I got stuff greased up. I got this clip on. Got my shoes ready to go. It's time for reassembly. So this spring is actually broken. It's supposed to have a big hook on the ends, and so that's not there, which means I'm going to need to buy some new pieces. This is the only vehicle I brought, and I don't have any brakes on my new vehicle. Time to phone a friend. I'm now back from the auto parts store with my new pieces. You can see they're nice and shiny on there. And now we have that spring that I didn't know what it was. Now I know what that is. It was just broken. So this is going to get wrapped around here like so. Up and around like that. This guide rail is going to go in there. This spring gets looped down in there like so. This spring gets looped in here. And then this is going to go from here over to here. And that's basically what holds them in, because it's going to get pushed out by the wheel cylinder up top. And then the spring will help bring it back in together. And then this guy, I believe he's going to go right in there. So, let's get to it. Okay. Let's try to do it like this and see how it goes. Well, duh. Okay, so let me show you what I've done here. Focus. Okay, so instead of trying to keep this piece locked in down here, I unhooked it from down here, slipped the ring over the stud, attached the spring, which then holds this basically guide line around, and then I hooked this in, and the way to do that is to just push that up, and then you can slip this piece over top. And it's way easier than trying to do what I was just trying to do. So now let me do the other side. Should hopefully be easier. It's probably not going to be any easier. So the threaded portion of the adjuster is going to go towards the front, and the loose piece is going to go towards this here. It's going to be up in there. Oh, there you go. And you'll see that it engages with the spring mechanism here. That's where that goes. Okay. And then this bar, the spring goes towards the front. Oh, finally. Oh, whew. Okay, now the spring goes in here. And you take a screwdriver. Bang, just like that. And you need to pop this spring in underneath here.
Thanks for watching Motor Maintenance. If you found this video helpful, please leave a like. Check out some of the other videos, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing because I have some cool stuff coming up in the next couple of months and you won't want to miss it.